There was a time when being alone felt like punishment, when silence felt loud and empty and heavy. But something changed. They tried to isolate you, to make you feel small, unwanted, disconnected. They thought if they could cut you off from others, they could control you. They thought loneliness would weaken you, but they underestimated one thing. You found peace in being alone. And now the very thing they used against you became your power. This did not just happen once. This has been a pattern in your life. People have tried to box you out, shut you out, turn others against you. They've whispered behind your back, built narratives about you, and slowly tried to separate you from support systems. Not because you were weak, but because they knew you were not. Isolation was never about distance. It was about control. If they could get you alone, they thought they could break you. If they could make you question your worth, they thought they could reshape your identity. And sometimes it looked like it was working. But what they did not realize is that every time they pushed you into solitude, they were pushing you closer to yourself. This isn't your first time being alone, and that's exactly why it doesn't scare you anymore. You've had seasons where people walked away, moments where you were misunderstood, times where you had no one to call, no one to lean on. And instead of collapsing, you adjusted. You learned how to sit with your own thoughts. You learned how to comfort yourself. You learned how to rebuild your energy without needing validation from anyone else. That kind of strength doesn't come overnight. It comes from being tested again and again until what once hurt you no longer has power over you. Now, being alone doesn't feel like rejection. It feels like freedom. Something shifted inside you. You stopped needing constant reassurance. You stopped chasing people who drained you. You stopped explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. And suddenly, there was peace. Not loud, exciting, chaotic energy, but calm, grounded, real peace. The kind of peace that comes when no one is pulling on your energy. No one is testing your patience. No one is trying to humble you or provoke you. Just you and clarity. And that peace is powerful because now you are not reacting anymore. You are choosing. Here is where it gets interesting. They expected you to break. They expected you to come back begging for inclusion. They expected you to react emotionally, to defend yourself, to prove something, but you did not. You got quieter but stronger, more distant but more grounded. And now they don't know what to do, because the whole plan was built on one assumption, that you needed them. And now they see you don't. That realization is driving them crazy, because control only works when someone is dependent, and you've become completely self-sufficient emotionally. Now they are scrambling, trying to figure out what else they can throw your way. They've already tried the rumors. They've already tried the exclusion. They've tried the humiliation ritual, and none of it worked. Because you've been through so much already, you've faced situations that forced you to grow thick skin. You've had to stand alone when it mattered most. So now, this feels like nothing. What used to shake you barely even touches you anymore. And that's what frustrates them the most. Not your silence, not your distance, but your unbothered peace. At some point, you realize something important. Not every situation deserves your response. Not every lie needs to be corrected. Not every insult needs to be addressed. Not every attack needs a defense, because reacting gives them what they want, your energy. And you've learned that your energy is too valuable to waste. So instead, you observe, you detach, you move forward. And that quiet strength, it speaks louder than anything you could say. What they meant for harm, God used for growth. In those quiet moments, when it felt like no one understood you, you were not actually alone. Isaiah chapter 41 verse 10 says, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Even when people stepped back, God stepped in. He strengthened you when you felt weak. He grounded you when everything felt uncertain. He gave you peace that did not depend on anyone else's presence. That's why your solitude feels different now. Because it's not empty, it's filled with purpose. There's something powerful about stillness. When everything slows down, when distractions fade, when it's just you and your thoughts, that's where growth happens. That's where clarity comes in. Psalm 46 verse 10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." You started to understand yourself more deeply. You started to see people more clearly. You started to recognize patterns you once ignored. And that awareness, it changed everything. Because now you don't just move, you move with intention. They tried to break your confidence. They tried to make you question your worth. But all they did was refine you. Now you don't crumble under pressure. You don't fold when things get uncomfortable. You don't lose yourself trying to fit into spaces that reject you. You've become rooted, grounded in who you are. Romans chapter 8 verse 28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to his purpose. Even the isolation, the betrayal, the pain, it all worked for your good, because it built someone they can no longer control. Let's flip the perspective. You did not lose people, they lost access to you. They lost access to your energy, your presence, your authenticity. And now they are realizing what they took for granted. But by the time they see your value, you've already moved on, not out of bitterness, but out of growth. Because peace will always feel better than chaos. So if you are in that place right now, where it feels like people are distancing themselves, where it feels like you are being pushed out, where it feels like you are standing alone, understand this. You are not being set back, you are being set apart. What they meant to isolate you was actually preparing you, preparing your mindset, your spirit, and your strength. Because where you are going, you can't carry the weight of people who tried to control you. So embrace this solitude, grow in it, find peace in it, build yourself in it. Because one day you'll look back and realize being alone was never your weakness. It was your greatest advantage. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you.